Hello everyone. Today we will do Spring Boot and RabbitMQ integration. After completing this sum module, students will be able to add RabbitMQ support to Spring Boot using a Spring AMQP. The student can explain the role of connection factory, Rabbit template, and AMQP admin. The student can declare queue exchange binding using Spring Bean, and then the student can build simple producer that send a string, build simple consumer using Rabbit listener, and run everything locally, then verify messages in RabbitMQ management UI. Okay, and Spring AMQP overview. Spring AMQP is Spring's abstraction layer for messaging with AMQP broker. You so basically we need to add this dependency to work with this RabbitMQ. Okay, that's Spring Boot auto configure connection factory, Rabbit template, listener, container infrastructure for Rabbit listener. So when we will work with Spring Boot, we basically need two stuff. First is Rabbit template that will be used by the producer, and second is Rabbit listener. Rabbit listener uh, will be used by the consumer, but behind the Rabbit listener, there is a listener container infrastructure that is taken care of by Spring Boot. So as a developer, you need to annotate consumer method with Rabbit listener, and most of the other hidden issues will be taken care of by Spring Boot. So why it is nice to learn? Because the developer can focus on messaging concept, not on raw protocol handling. Here we have some core building blocks, connection factory, Rabbit template, and AMQP admin. Connection factory is responsible for creating connections channel to RabbitMQ. Spring Boot typically configure caching connection factory by default, and Rabbit template, client API used by producer to send messages. Common method convert and send, exchange, routing key, and message. And AMQP admin, client to declare queue exchange bindings programmatically. So if you declare queue exchange binding as a Spring Bean, Spring Boot will automatically declare them at startup via AMQP admin internally. So when we declare queue, we'll declare it as demo.queue. Okay, we can specify some other name also, but it's easy to understand. Demo.queue, exchange as demo.exchange, and key as demo.key. Okay, so producer basics. We'll discuss producer basics like controller service. These are like in Spring, controller will be your REST client. Okay, and then controller will go to the service. Service will trigger uh, producer via Rabbit template. Rabbit template published to exchange via with routing key. This I will explain you in the code. Consumer basics. Here we have a listener method, consume from queue and print log. It will be a listener method will be annotated with Rabbit listener, and the message will be hello Rabbit MQ. So let's do the lab work. So to generate a Spring project, we go to the Spring initializer. We added these dependencies. If we are using Maven, then we specify the name of the project, Maven or Gradle. Language, we could use Kotlin or Java, and they are different version of Spring Boot. I'll be using 4.0.2. Packaging jar. Configuration, we could use YAML, but I'm using properties as of now. And we can specify whatever we need. This com.example demo or whatever package name we want to specify. Description of a project, Spring Boot, and RabbitMQ. And then we generate. Then the project will be created. Then we unzip the project and open in the RabbitMQ. Okay. So here I have already created this project. This is the main class. Okay, the main class is always annotated with the Spring Boot application in Spring applications. And then first I discuss with the RabbitMQ config. So config Files basically config classes are basically annotated with configuration annotation. Configuration annotation is basically a component. Okay, so first I specify queue name as my queue. I also agree that in here I gave it as some other name in the presentation. Okay, I could give this name. I agree. Okay, demo.queue, demo.exchange, and then we have demo.key. Okay, then I created a bean. I specified it as durable. Then I created topic exchange. Then I created a bean binding. Binding bind queue to exchange via with routing queue. Okay, so let's go here. Routing key. Okay. I have to provide this name, otherwise I will be in have issues. Okay. hmm Okay. Now hopefully it will work. Okay. As of now, I'm using this auto-wired annotation here, but this is not a correct way to specify a Spring Bean because sometimes it is noticed that if you define bean like this, you'll get a null pointer exception. So this is not right way. For the time being, we are using it like this. Okay. So I have Docker container running. So first I start the RabbitMQ because once the RabbitMQ started, then let's start the application. Okay. Hmm, I think it might take like few minutes because okay, so I have got some issue in the container. Okay. Mhm. To do some pruning stuff because some conflict is happening here. So okay, so now container is started. I think guest is the name of the password. Okay, so I start now application. Okay. Mhm. No, no, I have to start it from here. Sorry, not right away here, unfortunately. Start from here. Okay, so my application is connected to Spring Boot application is connected to uh, RabbitMQ that we can see here. Okay, now I have to see Spring Boot application how to reach Spring Boot application correctly. Okay, so now I reach the Spring Boot application, and what is the message? Hello RabbitMQ. Okay, now I type hello RabbitMQ. Let's see what happened here. Demo queue. Yes, I have got demo queue. Okay, so I have to find that message where it is in the messaging queue. Okay, okay, I'm able to receive that message. That is another thing. Okay, queue is empty, and the reason is that message is already reached to the consumer, and this message is here. Okay, how I'm getting it, I will also explain you. See, we have a consumer. Okay, we have a producer. First, I this is a controller class. Okay, this is what we are getting the producer dot send message. It will go here. The Rabbit template convert and send message to exchange name with routing key, and this is the message. The message go to the RabbitMQ, and consumer picked up the message and wrote it in the console. Okay, suppose I do one thing. I commented it out. Okay, now I restart my application, and here I type hello, I am Ajay, and Here we have zero consumer this time. Okay. Here you can see the message. Last time you were not able to see the message because that message was consumed by the listener. This time there is no listener. Okay. It was trying to connect a connection, but there is no listener. So that's why we were not able to see it. Okay. So I think this lab work is done. Okay, because this 1562 is done. This is a dependency basically. Spring Boot starter dependency. I uncommented. We have this dependency. Why it is showing? Okay, okay. So dependent vulnerability is found in that. Okay, so we have got this dependency Spring Web and then application YAML file, localhost. So Spring Boot is getting connected to localhost 5672. But here the user get connected to 15672. That's why in Docker file we have two different port. See, yeah. So what exchange I had here? The topic exchange. Okay, it was not direct exchange. Okay. So yeah, instead of curl, I started using Swagger UI, so that's more readable. Person can understand it easily. Okay. Mm, yes, that's what we were able to see it here the last time. Mhm. Okay, so I'll do this example again so you can understand it. Uh, okay. Hello, RabbitMQ. Send it here, and then the listener, you can see it here. Why I'm seeing this console? Because in the listener code, I specified it like this. Received message is hello RabbitMQ. Okay, here I have also logging and printing to the console. Okay, so now uh, I will not see this message here. Get message, but it is empty because it is read by the consumer. So this sub-module of RabbitMQ Spring Boot integration is finished. Thank you very much for watching this slide, and we will see each other in the next slide.